introduce a good friend of mine, Andrea Dean Van Scoyoc, a well-known horror Sinisteria author, formidable woman, and empath. She has more steel in her spine than most people can even dream of, and I would hope that you guys will give her your full attention.
I'll start off by saying you probably wonder why I have cue cards. If you have not talked to me at any time over the weekend, then I have them because I tend to ramble and get off topic and tell half a dozen different stories before regrouping back into what I was originally talking about. Those of you that have talked to me over the weekend, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So the cue cards are an attempt to keep me on topic, although I make no guarantees. So, can y'all hear me without being at the microphone? Can everybody hear me okay? No? You can take it out. I know, it's just I talk with my hands. If I don't have my hands, I'm deaf. So, oh, my ghostie's following me. Hey, look, everybody. Stay there, ghostie. Lynn gave me that earlier. I thought it was so cute. That's why I brought it up here. And then my little cauldron, because I love it. Found that at a thrift shop yesterday, a Christian thrift shop at that. And the lady's like, oh, this is so cute. And I'm like, yeah, exactly. I was like, sister, you apparently don't know what that is. Which is probably good for me, because she probably would have screamed at me, demon woman, get out of my shop. I run into that a few times too. My cauldron, it's what witches use to make up whatever. I mean, you've got your fairy tale witches that make up their witch's brew. My grandmother had a cauldron, and she used it for washing clothes. Washing clothes and making soap. Boy, what an exciting life the witches in my family have lived. They did laundry and made soap. Oh, yeah, my little ghostie's cute though. But, as Marty said, I am Andrea Dean Van Scoyoc, horror Sinisteria author, magazine owner, woman of a million trades. And I'm from the South, so the first thing I'm going to tell you is that y'all are going to hear a lot of y'alls tonight. I am one of these people that is heavy on the y'alls. So, I hope your ears won't bleed every time you hear me say it. I'll go ahead and warn you in advance, too, that my presentation is not going to be like anything you've heard this weekend. I don't have PowerPoint. I don't have a bunch of slides to show you. I'm just going to get up here and run my mouth. I'm not going to preach, ignore you, tell you my way is the only way, or anything else. And I'm not going to rattle on while you're sitting there thinking, oh, I wish the ghost would just kill her and get her off the stage, or with any luck tonight, she'll be pitched over the balcony, off the catwalk, something. Never want to hear this woman speak again. Because I've been to events where it's like that, and it's like, oh, God, will this person just shut up, get them off the stage? So, no. I'm going to try not to do that to y'all. What I am going to do is I'm going to read to you a little bit about myself, who I am, why I have such a pragmatic view on the paranormal, why I am a diehard skeptic, and then I'm going to open the floor to you. And you can ask me anything, whether it's anything I've discussed here tonight, if you want to talk to me about the ghost in my house, the ghost in the house I grew up with, if you want to talk to me about my magazine, my books, if you've heard or read anything about me on the internet, whatever you want to ask. After all, I'm here for y'all. And in case, hey, you be quiet. And unless you're really, really, really creative, I seriously doubt you're going to be able to ask me anything I've never been asked before.
What's your favorite taco?
My favorite taco? Don't eat tacos anymore since I lost 40 pounds. It's too much of a temptation. But to start off with, I'll tell you right up front that I am not a psychic, but an empath. And as I said, so you'll understand why I have such strong emotions about fakery, not only in the world of psychics, but also in the world of the paranormal, I'll give you a little background on me. I am a hereditary witch, tracing some of my heritage back to the 1500s, when an ancestor was accused of sorcery and run out of his castle. He spent his entire life running. All he had to do was give an apology to the earl, the baron, the king that he cursed, and all would be forgiven. So after a lifetime of running, he showed up in court and then said, No, I've changed my mind, and went back running. So I have a feeling that some of that stubbornness has been handed down to me. That's my dad's side of the family. My mom's side of the family is nothing but gifted wise women, gifted with everything from arcane powers to the simple everyday mundane. And up until recent years, powers like that were better kept to yourself. It's not something that you wanted to discuss with everybody that came along. And the powers in my mother's family were never discussed. They were always hushed, talked about. You didn't talk about such things. You were going to go to hell. Couldn't explain why you had them, but you never talked about anything like that. And I never made it public knowledge that I'm a witch or an empath up until the past few years, because unfortunately, every time I open my mouth and say anything like that, and anytime you talk of, oh, I can do this or I can do that, not in a bragging sense, but just in a general sense, such as you say, oh yeah, I go into a house and I can feel things every once in a while. Oh, you too? Me too. And it's like, oh, really? So every time someone says something like that, you've got the wannabes who think that because they have read a book by a certain author, or that they felt a cold draft because they left the window open and forgot to close it. Or you've got the know-it-alls. They're the worst ones. The know-it-alls are the ones that think they know everything when they absolutely know nothing. Or when you've, of course, got the people that have read the witchcraft books. Oh yeah, I'm a witch too. Sure you are. How many episodes of Charmed did you watch before you decided you were a witch? But it does not work like that. You can't pick up a book and say, oh, I think I'll be a witch now, or watch Charmed, and that's really cool, I think I'm going to try to do some of that. No, it doesn't work like that. While you can practice magic, magicians do it every single day, and some have made a very good living at it. They do sleight of hand. It doesn't make a person a witch, and when you get further into the powers that many people claim they have, that just muddies the waters even more. Believe me, chances are if you have a gift, you don't want it. It is a bane, and it is a curse. I don't welcome my gift. I have always said that if what I can do is a gift, where's the return counter? Because I want my money back. I have not honed my empathic ability. I never plan to. I don't want to. And it's not something that I intend to make a living off of. It works. It just works. That's all I care about. I use it only when I'm attempting to ascertain tomfoolery going on in an investigation, which makes me not very popular in the paranormal world. Because a lot of people are in this for the money, or they're in this because they want the fame and the acclaim and the notoriety that come along with it, and it doesn't work like that. I am the person that will come along when everyone else is hysterical, saying they see ghosts in every corner. I'm the one person saying, no you don't. Lights, shadows, drafts, car lights going by. So that makes me very unpopular. That brings me to my next point, and what I think a lot of people have begun tiring of in recent years. Fakes and charlatans in the paranormal industry. It seems like now anyone with a video camera is suddenly a ghost hunter. You can go on half a dozen websites all over the internet. I'm a ghost hunter. I investigate this. We go here and we hunt ghosts and we chase ghosts and we film ghosts. And I've seen orbs and I've seen shadows. Sure you have. I grew up in a haunted house. The house I live in now is haunted. It has been since the day we moved in. The ghost in the house that I live in now had a really sweet surprise for my husband and I. When we first moved in, all that we had in the house was a couch. That was it. And I had on the couch a bag from Sears that had a pillow and 2 rolls of wallpaper in the bag. I decided that I was going to do the bathroom in this god-awful, gaudy wallpaper that this friend of mine had given me. It was purple with scroll work in the background. I thought it was cool. So I said, I think I'm going to go ahead and do the bathroom in this wallpaper. So I went to get the wallpaper one day. The full roll was gone. The roll that had been mostly used up was still there. So I asked my husband what he did with it. He said, I didn't do anything with it. You must have moved it. I said, no, I didn't. We hunted high and low all over that house for that wallpaper. One day I got a call at work. My husband says, I found your wallpaper. And I said, really, where was it? In the Sears bag. I said, no, it wasn't. I took everything out of that bag 5 times. It was not in there. He said, yeah, it was. So that's how we started out in our new house, figuring out that it was haunted. And many other events have happened since then. Our ghost hides our keys. She locks my familiar in the bedroom. She locked my husband not long ago in the garage while I was doing dishes. So here I hear this pounding on the garage door. And I open up the door and he's like, "What did you lock the garage door for?" And I'm like, "Hello, doing dishes." "Well, how did the garage door get locked then?" I said, "How do you think it got locked?" And he's like, "Oh." We've had instances where the ghost has drained the batteries of people that have come to film in our house. We had a man that called us and said, "I'd like to come use your house because we have a mural painted on one wall of the castle, we have a cemetery painted on another wall, and we have a baby's coffin in one corner, we have an antique meat cleaver in another corner, we have memento mori hanging on the wall." So he said, "I'd like to use your living room for some interior shots of my movie," and I was like, "Fine, come on over." So he comes in, sets his camera up, starts panning around, and all of a sudden he says, "I've got lines in my camera." And I was like, "I don't know what that means. I don't make movies." So he said, "Well, I think the battery's going dead." So we took the battery out, and he said, "Must just be something because the battery's new." So he gets another battery, puts it in the camera, starts panning again, and he says, "This battery just went dead." And I called the ghost by name, and I said, "Would you just please stop and let Nick film? He's not hurting anything." So I said, "Go ahead and just try one more time, and if you can't, I'm sorry." So he put the original battery back in his camera and filmed just fine. She also messed up another friend of mine's movie. He made a movie with me in it, and I was playing this dead person stretched out at a wake. And as we were filming the movie, my husband kept telling me when we take a break, he's like, "There's something going on with the lights in the dining room. We've got a chandelier that I've got lined with beautiful dried roses." And he said, "The light's doing funny things." And I'm like, "What?" He says, "There's like all of this stuff coming down from it." And I said, "Yeah, but it's an old lamp, and Joel's got all kinds of lights set up in here, so it's just weird stuff going on." So we just let it go and didn't think anything about it. And about 6 months later, the movie finally got onto the market, and my husband had the courage to say, "Hey, did you see anything weird going on in the movie with the lights?" Just out of curiosity. And he was like, "Well, there was this chandelier in the dining room." And he said, "My editor," he said, "this is why it took so long to get the movie out on the market. My editor could not figure out what was wrong with the chandelier. There was these like swords of light all the way through the film, and it was messing the whole thing up. And he finally just had to give up." And my husband was like, "Figured as much." So, but I don't talk to my ghost. I don't say, "Oh, I want you to communicate with me and tell me who you are and why you're here." I honestly couldn't care less. Just like the house I grew up in was haunted, and it was haunted by, and we knew this for a fact because he was the only one that had ever lived in the house, the old man that originally built the house. And what is now the bathroom in my parents' house was the door going out to the outhouse that he used every single day of his life. To this day, the back of the fireplace, which was once outside, is in my parents' bathroom. Creeps everybody out that comes into the house for the first time. But I grew up in a very, very religious family, despite the witchery in my family. Like I said, hushed whispers, we didn't talk about that. That was evil. You don't talk about it. So I finally got up the courage one night to say to my mother as we were doing dishes, I think I was about 15, 16, I said, "Mom, I really think I'm losing my mind, but every time I'm in the bathroom, I feel like there's somebody standing outside the door waiting to come in."